Welcome to Hoodies, the podcast. We go deeper the black.
Welcome back to Hoodies, the podcast. I'm the Garbage Shitty. Let's get right up in this thing. Family is a microcosm of society. Family is a microcosm of society. In society, there are good people, not so good people, and that's subjective. It's toxic people, creatives, killers, unfortunately, pedophiles, rapists. Excuse me, you've got people who fight, and then reconcile. And then you have people who who are okay in that space. Right? If you came up in a household where, say there was fighting, there was conflict, there was some fighting, be it among siblings, be it among, I guess our parents or our guardians or just people we look, just fighting, period. I guess all the fights you can think of, you think of that, right? So if you got people who in the household are fighting, and then, later on, can like come back and be like, yo, that was fucked up, I shouldn't have done that. Or that was fucked up, I shouldn't have said that. Who are willing to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. And be able to forgive, like, me too, I shouldn't have took your shit. Like, that type of mentality is in society, if that makes any sense whatsoever. I mean, so the family that we have, that's our microcosm of what society is like. If you got hating ass family members, then that's the type person you're going to have in society, because that's the dynamic that they come from. And not to mention, it's a microcosm of, like I said, what's in society, because there are people in society that, who are fucking haters. And whatever dynamic, you come from, that's your microcosm, your world. It's a small sample of, that's the heavy part. It's a small sample of that person's world. And that world is with them. I'm going over that side because I guess this is your world. This is society right there. Society is full of people whose microcosm of society came from their family dynamic. And there they are in society. Now, granted, to be a killer, you don't necessarily have to be a psychopath. Sometimes it's self-defense. Sometimes it's in defense of our lives. Well, like I said, self-defense. Sometimes it's in defense of people we love and care about. So then it gets more, psychotic, is, when people enjoy killing people. That's a little different. That's something else. I don't necessarily know if, who knows? That's something I don't have enough knowledge on. But for the most part, everybody you see in society are products of their family dynamic. You know what I'm saying? So you could almost say it's like the same thing, say like with so-called thugs. You can say the same thing as with so-called thugs. There's a reason why they move the way they move. You know what I'm saying? A lot of so-called thugs / gangsters or whatever, a lot of them, that seems to be the constant. A lot of it all stems from some form, something that happened in their childhood, some form of maybe trauma. You know what I'm saying? Some form of maybe trauma, some that they didn't get as a child. Maybe it was hugs. Maybe it was the I love yous, which you get old enough, like me, you come to realize that those things are important. They help shape us even as adults. You understand? So if a so-called thug comes from, you know what I mean? A thug to me is a child who hit a rebellious stage in life and had no reason to come out of it. And that might that might be painting it with a broad brush. But trust me, when you see a thug or a so-called gangster, especially if they're young, you can bet your bottom dollar that damn it, a lot of what they carrying around is anger. You know what I'm saying? From not having maybe a father, not having that father in their life. Not having, some cases, is not having a mother in their life. Maybe they didn't, like I said, get enough hugs. You understand? Maybe they were ignored and just ran into this lifestyle of doing things to get attention because they didn't get it at home. You know, if there's a gay person, I would assume, who came out, and when I mean come out, I mean tell their family and friends, they circle, that they was gay. You know what I'm saying? Some of them carry around today this feeling of not being accepted because their loved ones or people they cared about didn't accept them. So now when they get into certain conversations in a barbershop or just period anywhere, now they speak or act with that much more passion because of what they didn't get as kids. Because family is a microcosm of society. So now out in society, we've got hurt people. The old adage, hurt people hurt people, it's true. It ain't even no two ways about that. Same thing, on the opposite end. If, like I said, you come from a household that wasn't devoid of conflict, they wasn't devoid of, of bumping heads or something like that. Some of them come from a family of, man, it's all love. Yeah, they fought, but it's all love. Man, I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have took your shit. Nah, it's all good. I was bugging. I had a bad day, and I took it out on you. That's an individual, you know what I'm saying, who comes from a background of reconciliation, of reconciling and stepping to you like a man. Damn, it seemed like every conversation or every subject all seems to go back to getting therapy. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless of the family dynamic, if it was not so good, at some point you can't keep using it as an excuse. That's where, therapy and all that shit comes in at. You know what I'm saying? Just know that when we hear, young folk talking about gunplay, like think about it when you hear a young kid talking about blasting a motherfucker or going to war with a motherfucker. Like you can't help but to think, what is missing? What's missing from that young dude or even that young girl's life? What's missing in their lives? I mean, we all know. Well, we don't know exactly what. We do know that there's a deficiency there. That would cause a young man or young woman to engage in activity that could, man, like that could end somebody's life or end their own lives. Not from necessarily getting killed or from getting locked up for a long period of time. Like, what's really missing? That's what I be thinking now in my old ripe age. Like, what's really missing from a nigga's life when they grown-ass men, gainfully employed? Yo, there's niggas in the military who pride themselves on being gang members or affiliated with the gang. Bloods or Crips or GDs, BDs, Vice Lords. Like, gainfully employed, got benefits and all kinds of shit. And got a little rank on them in the military. And pride themselves on being a part of a gang. You can't help but just think, like, what the fuck is missing in they fucking life? Damn. Like, what kind of shit are they dealing with? It's just a little food for thought. Every time you see somebody bugging out, especially a youngster or an adult bugging out, it makes you think like, damn, what happened to them? You know what I'm saying? R. Kelly shouldn't be the only one behind bars. That's my humble opinion. Shouldn't be the only one. R. Kelly, he was violated by a family member. I believe his sister, both him and his brother. You know what I'm saying? Who knows, what type of activity the rest of them engaged in, but we see where it took Robert Kelly. Granted, he shouldn't be the only one incarcerated. How about the person who violated him, who fucked his head up? All that money. And that right there, that example and various others are proof positive right there that, okay, yeah, you can get yourself a lot of dough and you can move out of a particular environment that's not as hostile as the one you came from, but it don't matter how much money you got. It don't matter how far away you move from your neighborhood. There's just one neighborhood you can't outgrow, that you can't escape from. You can't escape from that one. Like, you believe that there's people out here who aren't even interested in mentoring kids, who aren't even interested in sharing their microcosm with those of the youth, because this is crazy. There's some grown ass men who feel like they ain't real men because they haven't gone to jail. You know what I'm saying? And this is real shit. Some of them would tell you, what can I tell them? I ain't never been to jail. What I know about that, this, that, and the third. So they feel like they're inadequate to be an example for, a kid from, who's been living a dysfunctional, or not so good life. I don't like using the word bad. All that's subjective anyway. So my message would be to them brothers, yo man, don't let these I'm a felon ass niggas stop you from being of some sort of benefit for the collective. Word. Because at the end of the day, family is a microcosm of society. Everybody in society, ask some questions. Check their dynamic. You know what I'm saying? I oftentimes think about, the microcosm, the family dynamic with a lot of women. You know what I'm saying? Like the ones who subscribe to this happy wife, happy life thing. I always thought that type of behavior was I just always thought that was a bit narcissistic. You know what I mean? Basically, if I ain't happy and none of you motherfuckers gonna be happy. It makes me wonder what happened to them. What happened to them? Whatever happened to happy spouse, happy house? Why can't both people involved be happy? I always wondered that. I've always wondered. I wonder what their childhood was like. I wonder what she saw. Was her mom's mad spoiled by her daddy? By some man? Excuse me. But back to the youth. When you hear the youth talking about, they talking about, just talking amongst each other, and you hear them talking all this about gunplay and shit. You know what I mean? And then you ask them, well, what happens if you get shot, or if your brother gets shot, or somebody in your family, someone you love gets hurt? And you hear them respond, well, shit, then it's war then. War. I mean, motherfuckers be like 13 something. I mean, and again, we for the most part know why. If your microcosm of society, your family, that is, or the family dynamic, if it was what some people would call dysfunctional, at some point you can't keep blaming your family. At some point you got to talk to somebody, or else you're going to be that relative that's drunk at the family gatherings, still stuck on some childhood shit. They used to look up to you. Why didn't you? Childhood. Childhood. I bet you every thug is just a motherfucker who didn't get enough hugs. Who just didn't get enough. Or the family didn't have enough. Yeah, don't let these felon motherfuckers stop you from being there for kids. Cause some of them who's talking all this felon shit, again, what's missing when you got grown motherfuckers in their 40s going on about their record? About what they did to get locked up. Motherfuckers be trying to take their criminal record as a means to look tougher anyway. And real quick, before I get out of here, this is dumb short. Before I get out of here, I just want to say something to pro jabbers. I don't like how y'all are like mad snooty. I'm vaccinated. Ugh. I've been vaccinated, so I ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't like that. I would appreciate it if y'all would stop being so damn disingenuous. You know, well, okay, before I say that, let me say this. A lot of pro-jabbers are pro-jabbers because of the emotional side of things. They had family members that didn't fare too well with COVID-19. But so where the disingenuous part comes in at, I think some of y'all are leaving out the fact that your loved one was already dealing with some things health-wise. I don't like how y'all leave that out and just throw out, I got 8 family members that died from COVID, so I'm getting the vaccine. I'm getting that shit. Like some of y'all seem like y'all just throw that out there. Just it's like being a part of the conversation is not good enough for y'all. You got to throw that in there, that you got close people that didn't make it, and it's almost like y'all say that, because nobody can really rebuttal that. I mean, I would, but that's me. So I think some of y'all just being disingenuous just so you can be a part of the conversation. So I would appreciate if y'all stop being so snooty and disingenuous.
I don't even know what a lane is. See no box neither.
This game right here is extremely intense right here. Y'all have to be here. You would really have to be here to really know. Very intense. I mean, ain't neither one of them really spoken a whole lot since this game started. That's when you know it's serious. They don't talk. Oh, nobody talk when that game's serious. Wow. I love it, man. I'm here for it.